Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, lovely. Really enjoying the conversation. Now, I've been following Candace Owens from Ireland. I am a journalist, and I followed her transvestigation of Brigitte Macron. I lived in France for 5 years as well to see, if there's anything, was it holding any water? And it was just incredible. I mean, the misdirection. And the fact, I just find it incredible now that millions of people are going around saying that Brigitte Macron is a man, and they believe it. And the reason they believe it is because of Candace Owens' transvestigation, and they are sure of it. I've been through it so many
And
times with people.
hold on, you're saying that the misdirection is from her or from the Macrons?
From her. So
Okay.
Brigitte Macron is a woman, right? Now I know most people think she's a man, but she's a woman. Um, we Candace Owens failed to prove that she's a man. Now I know millions of people out there think she actually succeeded in proving that Brigitte Macron is a man, but she didn't. Journalistically, she did not prove it. And
Yeah,
even at
well,
the very
I
end,
noticed, about the strategies that she uses from a logic standpoint, from a philosophy standpoint. That's
mhm,
my reading. Is that what often happens is when there's real argumentation pressing her or her quote team to prove it, she then flips it and says, "Well, prove that it's not." Well, that's a fallacy. Okay, that's a tu quoque fallacy. So if you can't prove the claim, you don't get to just put the burden of proof on the other person to say, well, prove that it's not the case, right? First of all, it's an argument from silence. You made
mhm.
the claim. The other person doesn't have to prove the negative. You have to prove the claim, and then to shift the burden of proof is a sign of something sus.
Yeah, and I think Tristan, made the point that it's like a lot of people are under a spell. And I think what she does is a form of kind of black magic or wizardry, where she's bamboozling her audience with information. So it sounds like it's this incredible investigative journalism. And yes, she is offering some good pieces of information here and there. So they're assuming then that she knows where she's going with it and she knows what she's talking about. But even at the very end, she says, I can't say for sure. But the audience misses that bit because they're so convinced by the end of it that actually Brigitte Macron is a man. And,
Exactly.
I tried to interrupt the programming and say, well, no, wait a second. I pointed out here, there, everywhere where she was misleading. And I would say deliberately, purposefully misleading her audience to reach a false conclusion. And I think the agenda there is to make conspiracy theorists, for want of a better word, look stupid
Yeah,
in
right.
front of
Let's
their
start.
peers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the aim of the game is to make people who think critically look stupid. And I see it all the time. I see it with these operations. They are embedded into the kind of conspiratorial world, conspiratainment world, and they're set up to look like proper investigative journalism, and it has the veneer of all of that. And then, of course, they get a big following and all the rest, but they eventually lead the audience to the wrong conclusion. She's not
Absolutely.
the only one doing it, but
Now think back to I would say maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Supposed CIA whistleblower Robert David Steele goes on all the podcasts. He gets on Alex Jones, says a bunch of credible things about human trafficking, child trafficking, and then says, and by the way, they're taking all the children to Mars slave colonies to clone them on Mars, which just
mm,
it's obvious
yeah,
disinformation right there.
yeah, nobody's going to Mars. But people, nobody's going to Mars, and there's nobody on Mars. But again, this is going to be another tangent for people to go, well, actually, yeah, people are going to Mars. And it is a huge problem. You just see it all the time. I have a big issue now with the Manchester Arena bombing. And we have hundreds of thousands of people out there who think that those victims are crisis actors. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but they're not. I've tested the waters, journalistically. But to go back to Candace Owens, she does this all the time. So lots of good information out there, so people trust her. But you look at her husband, you look at the ties, you look at all the hand signals she's doing throughout her broadcast. She's more or less telling her audience who she's, who she's working for, let's say. And it's incredible. I think you're right to throw it back on the audience and to say to the audience, you need higher standards. And just because some people say, the right things at the right time, you have to hold them to account when they say the wrong things at the right time. And I think it's really important that the audience understands that it's up to them to have the standards. And if they continue to follow and swallow up whatever junk is thrown out at them, well, it's on them, you know?
Mm.
And you're right to have this conversation.
Yeah, well, I agree with most of that. I'm not sure I would read too much into hand signals. I know that being in media, people's hands do all kinds of different things. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I mean, there could be something there. I know that there are Masonic hand signs, but again, it's just that itself is also, I think, a very